All right, so you can see here, these are the four rational equations that we're going to solve. Now, before you solve any of these equations, you should go through and note what would be disallowed if it was the answer. So these are called extraneous solutions if you get them. So remember, in any fraction, the denominator of a fraction cannot equal 0 because that would mean it would be illegal. You can't divide by 0. So if I look around to these problems, look at this one on the right up here. If x happened to be 2, then I would not be allowed to use that as an answer here because it would make the denominator of this fraction 0. So this is going to be a restricted number for me. X cannot be 2. All right, down below that, I see here, x cannot be negative 2, nor can it be 16, because 16 minus 16 would be 0. Over in the top left here, it's kind of different to think, 4 times x equals 0. What would make that 0? Well, if you divide by 4, then you would say, oh, x equals 0. So that would be something I would disallow. X cannot be 0. All right, and down here in the last problem, I see again x cannot be 0. Also, it cannot be negative 9. So these things that I've put right here, these are going to be our excluded values, the things that we will never say is the answer if it comes up. So we'll come back to this page later if we need to. All right, so right here I'm solving this. Now the easiest way to solve this problem right here, no, wait a minute, it's not my first one. Let me go back. Yeah, I meant to solve. All right, this is the one I wanted. So it's kind of like when we added and subtracted. You want a common denominator. Once you get a denominator to match, then all of your both sides of your equation are equal, and you just solve the numerator. So let me show you what I mean. I have denominators of 4x, 3x, and 4. So I can grow all these to be 12x, all right? 4 and 3 could both grow to 12, and then I can create an x if I need to somewhere. So for this first fraction, the 4x in the denominator, I'm going to multiply him by 3 so that he can grow to a 12x. So I'm going to multiply the numerator by 3. For the next one, I'm going to multiply him by 4. So I'm going to multiply the top by 4 as well. Well, over here on the right side, the 5/4, I need to multiply that by 3 to make 12, but also an x to create the 12x situation. So times 3x. So once the denominators are matching, then everything's great, and you just need the numerators to match. So by matching, I mean you need the numerators to make an equation. So you have 3 times x minus 3 plus 4 times 4x plus 1 equals 5 times 3x, which is 15x. This is all over 12x. So since it's all over 12x, I don't really need to know about that 12x anymore. So technically, I don't really have to write that. So I'm going to get rid of it, and I just solve the equation that I've made. So let's distribute. And we get 3x minus 9 plus 16x plus 4 equals 15x. So combine like terms, I got 19x minus 5 equals 15x. So I'm going to subtract 19x from both sides. So I have negative 5 equals negative 4x. So the fraction for my answer is negative 5 over negative 4, so 5/4. And if I look back, that was not one of my excluded values, so it's good to go. All right, so my next one is, let's see, 4x, this one. So with this problem, you can do like we did on the last problem. You can say to yourself, well, the denominators are 5 and x minus 2. I'm just going to have to make a common denominator of 5 and x minus 2. So I'm going to give this guy an x minus 2. I'm going to give this guy a 5. So now they match, so the numerators become 20x equals 2x times x minus 2. Another way to think of all this is you only have two fractions equal to each other. So oftentimes people like to think to themselves cross multiply, which I think is much easier. So 5 times 4x makes 20x, like I was getting before, and then 2x times x minus 2. All right, so 20x equals 2x squared minus 4x. Now In this problem, I see I have x squared, so that means I'm going to have to get everything together and factor. So let's take away 20x. So I have 0 equals 2x squared minus 24x. So this is a different kind of factoring. I'm just going to pull out a GCF. There's no number on the end of this right here, so I can't do my regular like 2 parentheses factoring. So let's just pull out a 2x, and my answer then would be x minus 12. So when I solve that, my two answers are 0 because 2 times 0 in the front makes 0, and 12 because 12 minus 12 makes 0. So there's my two solutions. So let me do one last check. It was this problem right here, so x can't be 2. So both these answers are fine. All right, so my next problem, let's see, x plus 9, there it is. All right, so my denominators are x plus 9, x, and 5x. So it looks like to get a match here, I need a 5 and an x. These guys have some version of that. And then I need x plus 9. So let's go give. So this first fraction needs to be given a 5x. So he gets a 5x. This next fraction needs to be given a 5. So 5 and also the x plus 9. So times 5 and x plus 9. The next one just needs an x plus 9. All right, so let's write our problem. Remember, the denominator, I'm done with that. So I can just write the numerator and go about my way. So 5x times 4, that gets me a 20x. Then I have 2 times 5 in the next one, so that would be 10 times x plus 9. Whoa. Sorry. Equals, and I have 3 times x plus 9. All right, so I have 20x plus 10x plus 90 equals 3x plus 27. So notice here I do not have any x squareds. So this is going to be a much simpler problem to solve. I have 30x plus 90 equals 3x plus 27. So if I take away 3x, I got 27x. If I take away 90 here, let's see, that would be 63, negative 63. So my result is x equals negative 63 over 27. These both divide by 3, so I think I'll say negative 21 over 9. And those both divide by 3, so my final answer would be negative 7 over 3. All right, and if I go back and check, that was not one of my excluded solutions, so I'm fine. All right, x, let's find this last one. Here we go. So I'm going to cross multiply. All right, so I'm going to have 2 times 16 minus x equals x times x plus 2. So I multiply this out, I get 32 minus 2x equals x squared plus 2x. So since I have an x squared, I'm going to bring everything over to the right and factor. So I'm going to add 2x here. So I have x squared plus 4x. And then this 32 is just going to come to the other side, so he's going to become negative 32. All right, so my factoring, what multiplies to 32 and makes 4? Oh, we'll use 8 times 4, x plus 8 and x minus 4. So my answers are negative 8 and 4. Let's go back and check. That was not one of my excluded values, so we're good. So let me just explain real quick. If you happen to get one of your excluded values, like let's say you have a problem and you do your work and you come down to x equals 3 and negative 7. But up earlier in the problem, you noticed that x was not allowed to be certain things, like let's say 0 and 3. So when you get to your answer, you would say to yourself, well, x can't be 3, so I'm going to cross that off. Therefore, the only answer to my problem would be negative 7. Okay, and if you end up putting both of those, then you would be wrong. All right, so that's what happens to you there. Bye-bye.